And thank you, and we are back for the second running of the 12 Hours of Canton, and congratulations to Mark Davis as he was the winner of the second care pack, courtesy of Primal Life.
Yeah, sorry, Mark, we're a little late in announcing the winner for that. We were told a while ago. My fault. Sorry, didn't see it. Also, remember, guys, in the chat that you are voting for your driver of the day for the Gold Glove Award. So we just ask that you make one entry of your favorite driver. The driver here at the 12 Hours.
Yes.
Not your favorite any driver.
Sorry, Jeff Gordon can't win the Golden Gloves.
I saw an entry for Scott Dixon. We do like Scott Dixon. He's on our mural wall out here, but he doesn't qualify for the Gold Glove Awards. He's got his own Gold Gloves. So remember, your favorite driver of the day.
Yep. Mark that down in the YouTube chat, and also 12hoursofcanton.com/Canton, and you can enter yourself to win the final DJI Mini 2 SE, still wrapped in cellophane, brand new in the packaging, courtesy of the folks at Ohio Drone Repair. So we have about one more hour remaining on that particular giveaway, and we just had some light shown on some of the not controversy, but some of the issues that were going on with the timing and scoring. Can you talk us through some of what was going on, James?
We asked Jason about the lucky dog and which laps got given back, and he said in one particular instance there was a lucky dog given during the last yellow. And I think it involved Team Salem, and the reason that they didn't get the lucky dog back was because they had already missed a lap on the timing scoring, I believe, and then they corrected that. Sorry,
you're all right.
And they will get that corrected so that everybody was on the lead lap together.
Understand.
I don't know if I explained that very well, but it was a timing and scoring issue that they did correct on the back end.
Okay, so it wasn't anything as though they got a lucky dog. They just got a lap counted back on timing and scoring that they were already allotted, that they had completed out there on the circuit, but it just didn't ping for some particular reason.
That's the way we understood it to be, yeah. I think that's a better explanation for it.
Gotcha. So a recap of what has been going on through the past 10, 15 minutes before we went on to break, and during break, Team FLBR continues to hang on to the advantage out there on the race course over Team Supersonic, who we are riding on board with right now, and she is trying to remain within striking distance of Team Downhill Burrito Racing, who is currently being piloted by one of their younger members. I want to say that's Leighton.
Yep, back to Leighton. He's back at the helm.
I'm getting him. Too bad I'm getting him with only 54 minutes remaining left in the event.
These guys have put in so many laps today. It's great to see Leighton out there. I really wonder how he's feeling, but based on his lap time, let's see, as he passes the last time by, it's 25.8. So I think he's feeling pretty good.
So we have mentioned that Downhill Burrito has been making a late race charge towards the front of the leaderboard, but Redline Racing has pretty much cemented themselves in the number 4 position with only 53 minutes of racing remaining and only 43 minutes of open pit time remaining. You got to think two pit stops tops is what's going to be happening for a lot of these teams. Is they're going to be planning on hitting that pit stop about 15 minutes to 10 minutes remaining in the race.
Because the worst thing could happen is we look at MK Morris looking down the inside of high voltage. That's Corey Ricker driving that machine. The worst thing that could happen is that if the pits close and you got a dead battery, your race after 12 hours is going to be devastating. So make sure you're planning accordingly. You can't make a cart swap and change batteries after the last 10 minutes. Pits are going to be closed. Track workers are going to be shutting up and or shutting down and going home. Yeah, they're not going to be shutting up.
So I wonder what we see Team Salen's driver Ian Geiber sitting on. Is that some sort of a backrest that he is sitting on? Is these too hard of a seat for his back?
Yeah, you can imagine that we talked about the upper body strength to wrestle the cars. Well, when you're doing that, your shoulder blades kind of stick out, and it's rubbing up against a plastic seat. So he's wearing a cushion back there to try to eliminate some of that extra rash that a lot of us get and experience after driving these cars for long periods of time. They're definitely not made for comfort, as no race car is.
Accommodating everything, or making accommodations to every aspect so they can compete at their optimal level for the duration of this 12 hours, doing everything they can in their bag of tricks.
Remember, that's got to be worth it for him to throw in the car, because part of your pit stop time is how fast you can get in the car. So he wouldn't be driving with it if he didn't need it, I don't think.
That's a great way of putting it.
And the same thing is we saw Leighton, who's right behind Rachel there, is he drives with one of those booster seats, and he needs that in order to drive the car properly, but that adds a little bit to your pit stop time and a little bit of strategy and how you throw that seat into the car. Next time we go to a pit stop, we need to try to catch that from camera one so we can see some of the overhead shots of those crews.
That will be great. As, again, looking in at timing and scoring, Felber over Supersonic, high voltage in third, Redline 4, Downhill Burrito in the number 5 position with MK Morse in 6th, Team Salen in the number 7 position, and Ohio Drone Repair rounding out the field.
And we have an onboard with the pace car driver who's sitting there idly.
So just looking from the top-down perspective, there's not a whole lot going on out there on the track. Everybody's kind of strung out at this point in time.
They keep going in waves. They go in these
You're right.
stretches where everybody is across the track, and then all of a sudden they start bunching up again with one driver, and then the next thing you know, they're battle it out, and then a couple minutes later, everybody's back out space.
The accordion effect is in full effect. One thing that I have been meaning to ask you, James, I've seen these electric carts competing in an outdoor environment. Those are facilities purpose-built for outdoor electric karting. Am I not mistaken with that?
If you might be referring to K1 Circuit kind of thing?
Yes.
It's kind of, it's modeled after a gas cart, and it is specifically designed for outdoor racing. Circuit does have the Superleggero, which is the same car we're driving here today. They do have that out there. Don't know how much they've run it on track or what the intentions are with that, but it's the other model, they call it the championship model of it, is actually made for outdoor environments, like a little bit of wet and that kind of thing.
Okay, because I was curious to know if you could essentially pick up the equipment that you have here and take it to a different facility and put it down to run an event, let's say. I don't know what Adkins keeps coming to mind, but I'm from Tuscarawas County, and that's the kart track from down there. What kind of infrastructure would have to be in place for you to be able to host an event there? You obviously have to have a power drop. Is that the main thing?
Yeah, and that Adkins being an outdoor track, correct? So,
yes.
The cars could run there. Electrical infrastructure would probably be the most challenging portion of that, and I think that'll be the potential next wave. If electrical architecture is built out, you might see these cars become more popular outdoors. I'm not sure. I think that's what K1 Circuit is trying to do and trying to push that next generation of karting, and we'll see how successful it is.
And you have the IT infrastructure set in place for us to be able to monitor all of the aspects behind what we have in place here today in real time. Yeah. And that type of an infrastructure is a whole different bag of worms whenever it comes to the outdoor environments.
It definitely becomes a lot more complicated because you're trying to transmit data over longer distances, and anytime you do that outdoors, you have a lot more variables involved. Yeah, we have the nice thing about like even the cameras that we're running on board, we have a central access point where all that data can be collected, so cars are constantly driving around it. And when you go outdoors, you obviously got to worry about a lot longer distances. So
the bones is one thing of getting it there. All of the bells and whistles is a whole different thing.
Yeah, it would be.
So
not that somebody couldn't do it, but it is a little bit of a challenge.
I try to keep you on your toes, asking you the questions that you may not be ready to answer.
Thank you.
That's always the best way of getting responses out of folks that I'm talking to.
I just saw somebody pop their head up in the booth here. None other than Marshall Miller himself.
So we'll have to get Eminem over here for just a quick little chat and talk and see what he's got going on.
Nobody's ever called him that. We should do that. Your new official nickname is Eminem.
Peanut butter, pretzel. What is your particular variety, Mr. Marshall? What is it? Reese's Pieces. It's not even an M&M. Blasphemy.
Let's bring Marshall over if I can talk to him for a second.
Yes, absolutely. I will give up my headset gladly for Mr. Marshall Miller.
Got to find out what's going on at Felber Motorsports down there. As we watch your driver on track, who is...
I need him to make that car last.
You need him to make a last?
Yeah.
So, welcome to the booth, Mr. Marshall Miller from FLBR Motorsports, and the key strategist, basically the uncle to the two twins. How's it been running today?
Better.
Better than you thought it would be? Good.
I was a little worried about them being a little too aggressive, but they've making clean passes.
Yeah?
I'm proud of them.
I think we saw a few things early on in the race, and then they maybe settled down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wall incident on turn 1 was it's kind of annoying, but I was like, got the point. Just let it go.
I was kind of sighing at some points as I saw some of the pushing and shoving. It's like,
it's so mixed. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah. But I think tell me if this is right or not. Have they learned that because they are so quick today that if they do get stuck behind somebody, they can just make up the time elsewhere?
Exactly. I've told them let people pass, and yeah.
And just take care of it when you have clean track space.
Exactly.
Good. Well, and so how have the pit stops been going? You guys practiced a lot with jumping in the carts?
Yes.
Seat belts? Any issues today?
No issues.
Perfect.
The only thing was a drive-through, and that was, I can't remember what that was for, but everybody got it. Not everybody, but the teams that were in competition with us, High Voltage and Supersonic, got it with us, so it didn't affect us.
Yeah. Everybody who you were in the lead lap with, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we keep watching your drivers and yourself just set super fast lap times. Your name has been up here on our scoring and timing purple all day for that 25.261. Was that you or was that one of your drivers?
251, that's me.
251, yeah.
For a while there, it wasn't, though.
It wasn't. It was 297, and it was Cash.
Yes.
Yeah.
He got irritated when I took it from him.
How have you been feeling?
Good. The only thing that's worn is like my knuckles, my joints on my
From
fingers.
gripping the steering wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm good.
How are the boys holding up?
They're good as well. It's their shoulder, how that 12, like the 50 race challenge would rub right here.
Yep. We were just talking about that with Ian because he's wearing that back pad to try to prevent that that situation. Any other kind of inside information on the paddock and what's going on down there? How are things?
A little drama from my team,
Yeah.
but other than that, good.
All right.
I'm keeping the boys in line. They're happy. They're doing good today. So I'm happy with their performance. So far, no drive-through penalties that are like a blown stop box or seat belts. So
Correct. Well, and you're at 1,419 laps. We got 45 minutes remaining.
when they pit, 11:46. Okay, so hold on. That's 15. That's 30. They're gonna have to pit again unless they make that cart last.
Yeah, that would be a long stint if they make it last that long. 45 minutes.
I'm trying to have him go until 12:10, which that's 40 minutes. But I was like, no, if you pit at 12:05.
Oh, this
Cash.
is on the time remaining?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the race does end at 12:30, correct?
Well, yeah, 45 minutes or 44 minutes from now, yeah.
Okay.
It should be right on the money. We started right on time, so.
Okay.
You're looking at the time to go, though, as far as when you're gauging your pit stops, right?
No, I'm looking at the actual clock,
Oh, okay.
like the actual time,
Sorry, I thought that was 12 minutes remaining. So what is the time you're aiming for?
12:05.
12:05. All right. Is he doing any kind of energy savings?
Yes, I told him to let off sooner because you can see he's letting off early. Yeah, please check his battery for me because can't look at it. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, so he's got good
All
signs and good telemetry. So, share with some viewers at home a little bit of just behind the wheel. What's it been like? Has it exceeded your expectations? Been better, different? Tell us a little bit about your 12-hour experience and convey that to people who haven't done this before, haven't seen it.
I don't know really to where to start on that, like how difficult or tiring it gets, or
Yeah, you do that. Yep.
okay. If you've never raced here before, or like maybe you've done 5 races or maybe 30, but you haven't done, let's say, 5 races in a row, then you're going to be a little sore and worn out if you just jump into the 12-hour or maybe like the 50 race challenge.
Mhm.
But after that, I mean, you'll be good. The only thing that will wear down on you is your fingers and either some rug burn on the back of your shoulder blades from your shirt. But
Yeah.
other than that, I'm pretty sure you guys can stick it out and go for it. It's pretty fun. This 12 hours is fun. Team of 3 is pretty good, but I still feel like the optimal team is 4 4
Really?
people on your team.
Okay, so you've missed having that fourth team member this year?
Somewhat, but
Yeah.
I like the team of 3. It runs good for us, but the most optimal one, I would feel like 4 people on your team.
Okay.
No more, no less.
Well, we've been watching Supersonic and High Voltage equally match each other pretty much all day. Now, I know
Yeah.
there's some time separating the two, but a team of 4 spanned across 1,500 laps. It's been amazing how consistent they are. That was your former team last year, and people were asking, like, how did that all come about? What was your side of the story on how that all transpired this year?
And I'm going to be honest. I got a little irritated with my team, but I took a break and kind of learned stuff myself, and I'm pretty sure they learned stuff as well. So, like, the last 2 months have been good. But, yeah, I dropped off their team just because I wanted to try something new as well, because I kind of wanted to run with the Felbers last year, but they were doing their F4 race, so that's why I ran with Supersonic. But other than that, that's the only reason why I really dropped off.
Okay, so good learning experience, and
Yeah.
you get to run with a new team and experience it, and you guys have been successful so far today.
So far, I'm a good leader, so
yeah.
I got to practice on those skills.
Yep.
52,
All right.
36.
Well, yeah. So good luck in your last 45 minutes here. Go manage the Twins, and we'll see how this thing wraps up.
Okay.
Thanks for coming up.
Pole.
You guys already had pole.
We're going to keep it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, James.
Marshall Miller, everybody. At this point, we are going to throw it down to Jason, who is at the podium, for some additional information.
By the podium is Jason Gajewski.
Very close. Very good.
Close.
Yep. You got
Correct
it.
me.
Gajewski.
Gajewski. He
Yep.
told me 3 times. I still didn't get it right, but
That's
we're going
right.
to take a bet on who can pronounce it right. But he is the race director here
Yep.
with 12 Hours of Canton. So what a fantastic event.
Thank you.
So this
Thank
is
you.
the second annual
Yep.
running of this event.
It is.
So how did you get involved in this?
So probably around this time on a normal K1 night, there were a few of us standing around, and we said, why not try it? We're all into endurance racing, and no one's ever tried this, or I guess been crazy enough to try this, or whatever it might be. So we all jumped together. Me and James headed the whole thing up, and then I said, hey, let me do majority of some of the heavy lifting on the calls and everything like that, and it turned into the 12 hours. And so why not try it? First year went great. I stood right here last year in an hour and 45 minutes and asked everybody if they wanted to do it again. So we did it again and made it as best as we could this time. So loving it, loving every bit of it.
So I've heard that the event has grown.
It has,
I've
very
talked to
much.
many racers, and like it's really grown this year. So was it just word of mouth?
It primarily has been a grassroots thing. I mean, EV competitive racing is a very small niche in the racing industry, and then go-karts is even smaller than that. So we're creating something almost totally new here, and I think it's so cool, especially in this area with everything that we have. Just to be able to do that is something awesome. It's an absolute pleasure to do.
Yeah, and I tell you what, this is my first time at an event like this. Very well organized, a lot of great sponsors, a lot of excited racing, but a very long day. And that means a lot of other just lights, food, a lot of preparation goes into this. So tell me some of those folks that have helped with this.
Oh my God, the sponsors have been absolutely amazing. So we got Primal Life, FLBR Motorsports, fantastic guys, jumped right in right off the board. Ohio Drone Repair is our other title sponsor. The awesome video shots we're getting out there today is amazing. Plus giving away the drones, live stream, all that stuff. That's all Ohio Drone Repair, plus the banners and stuff. So MF Outfitters actually does the banners and car wraps and all that kind of stuff. So they're fantastic to work with. All the guys, I mean, from, good Lord, I'm going to rattle my brain right now at almost an hour to go.
Almost midnight, right?
Yeah, but I can't remember the name of the chicken place from North Canton, but Hallenberg, fantastic. Oh my God, we were so excited to have it.
Oh, wow.
Bubba's 33 for coming in at the 11th hour, getting us catering for dinner. Everybody else along the way, Track First, and everybody that's helped. Great racing community. And then to get it out to other places, that's been the best part of it. I mean, Bubba's 33, putting it on in the restaurant and then people going to the restaurant and watching it, fantastic. So the little bit that I get to share it with the world, and every sponsor helps that, it's helped grow the event significantly. So I'm very proud of where we're at.
So how can other people get involved? How can they get a hold of you? How can they get involved in this event?
12hoursofcanton.com. So the number 12, hoursofcanton.com is our main website. We are at K1 Speed Canton. Walk through the doors, and you can find any of us roaming around here most days. Talk to us about it. There's been people that have walked through the doors and just started racing with us, and they are out on track with us right now. So people randomly from baseball or whatever, they come here for a party and then they get hooked on it. So come here and try it, or just send us, or go to our website, send us an email, check out our social media, Competition Carts. There's lots of ways to get a hold of us, but absolutely come try it out.
So we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram,
Yep.
we're on Twitter, we're on all of it.
Yep.
So, well, you folks, you've heard it. You want to get involved, come on down, K1 Speed right here in Canton, Ohio. Ask for Jason or one of the other members here, and they'll get you started. And hey, maybe you'll be a part of the next event next year. It just keeps growing. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Dana.
And thanks for joining us here for the second running of the 12 Hours of Canton, brought to you by Primal Life and Ohio Drone Repair. And thanks for Dana for bringing some spotlight on Jason and getting some more information as to the who, what, where, and why. Why we're doing this even in the first place. And we've answered a lot of those questions and more questions that didn't even need answered, like 222 nanometers and more during the duration of this particular airing of the 12 hours for 2024.
Well, and I think the question of why is something that Jason asked quite a bit, but the answer usually comes to him pretty quick, and that is because he is driven to build the motorsport industry. He's just excited to do that, and
you can
we're happy to
see
come alongside of it.
The glee in his face whenever he is talking about this. It is just something that excites him to the end of the world and back. He is excited. He wants to be out there racing, but he is even more excited about, putting this together.
Yeah. And that wasn't the original idea, but he just kind of migrated into that path because we all needed that central person to put it together and to lead it and do the race directing and stuff, and so he was naturally that person.
You kind of wanted it too, and then you kind of didn't want it after last year.
Yeah, no. Responsible for the carts and the facility and everything like that. That was enough for me.
There's a whole lot of logistics on the back end that has to be taken care of.
And the nice thing too, we're kind of transparent about this, but the K1 Speed offering the facility and everything, we try to stay out of the competition side of it because of the nature of the event. And Jason helps separate that for us so that we make sure that 12 Hours of Canton becomes the face and we become the facility, and it helps us, it helps them, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship.
There we have just seen Ian Giebler coming into the pits with 34 minutes and 30 seconds remaining on the clock. They're pretty much cemented themselves in that number 7 position. That's about all the more I can say for Team Salins at this point, as they have quite a few laps over Team Ohio Drone Repair, and they're 3 laps behind Team MK Morse Racing. So the writing's on the wall for the hot dog folks, but it's not over yet. There is still penalties that could be assessed, cart expirations early that may happen. They may be coming in for an additional pit stop that we don't know about, but with 35 minutes of racing left, you got to think that they are trying to stretch it out for this final run. Also, we have Team High Voltage and Team Supersonic still at 1,441 laps for those two teams. Trying to locate them on the race course. There we see Team High Voltage right now being piloted by none other than Steve Madden himself. He has been doing a lot of endurance karting, so we should see him.
I just saw Ian with his backpack there. That's pretty novel.
Well, I talked about how it was going to cost him time, but
I think he figured out a way so it doesn't cost him time. He just straps it to his back.
That is very, very clever.
Look at that. Cool.
It's essentially just it's a mattress pad.
All right, we are
whatever works.
3 minutes to midnight, and I've asked to just remind you guys one last time that if you haven't voted for your driver of the day, please do so in the chat. Please name the driver that you think would earn the Gold Glove Award for the day, and we will be announcing that, I believe, before the end of the race.
We've got one pair of gold gloves to give away. It's going to go one lucky participant is going to win the Golden Gloves here for the 12 Hours of Canton, the second annual running of the 12 Hours of Canton. This would be a spectacular sight if the camera was on us right now. But because one lucky team or one lucky individual will be wearing winning the Gold Gloves?
I just realized we have 2 sets of these. Why do we have 2 sets?
I can't answer that question.
Well, there are 2 gloves in each package. Yes.
Okay.
It's not one.
We're
We're just the talking heads up here. What do we know?
And we had another set brought up to us later in the broadcast, but we are giving away a pair of golden gloves to your favorite driver that is participating in the race tonight.
Very nice set. Thanks to Track
Yes.
First for their sponsorship.
Thank you very much.
Check them out for all your racing apparel needs.
So there we see a representative from Team Ohio Drone coming in for their pit. And we got to think that Jacob, we got to think that he is probably going to be their anchor member.
Oh, that was been our guess. So it's gonna be interesting to find out who will be their substitute driver.
Yeah, because with 31 minutes remaining, it is going to be, yes, that's Jacob. Is that
Yes,
right?
it is.
Okay.
That's Jacob, the guy who was added to the roster just within the last 24 or 48 hours, however long we've been here now. I'm not sure, but very recently.
So he will be filing in right behind Team High Voltage. So we will see how his laps will shape up. I mean, he's out there for the sport of it at this point in time as Ohio Drone just kind of threw things together. They are, quote unquote, the band of misfits from last year, as we do not have Misfit Motorsports Racing with us, Team MMR from last year. But we have kind of replaced and adopted them with Ohio Drone Repair for this year, as they've just kind of been tossed together at the 11th hour and got a pretty good group of drivers that hopefully we'll see back here for next year's
It's still,
event.
yeah, and despite that, very strong showing for the day. Yeah, they might be several laps down, but it's very good all around from all different aspects, from the fact that they came in qualified the way they did, to the fact that they were setting competitive lap times, to just all their work on track today has been very, very good for a new team.
So with only 20 minutes of green flag pit stops permitted, Supersonic and High Voltage, they're trying to get one more pit in and then run it to the end, unless we have missed their pit. I don't think we've missed their pit before the end. You were talking to Marshall with FLBR. They're trying to push to 12:05 before they have to come in. I need to see what the number is on that cart to know what its current state of charge is, because last time I checked, it was about 60% state of charge on that cart, but that was quite some time ago.
Well, that was the one that Owen was saying he
28.
needs to have him extend. So right now he's sitting at right around, let's update this to the last few minutes here.
28 is running at 34% state of charge at 55 degrees C.
And you can tell he's really backed off, his last lap time being at a 26.2. It's about 8/10 off of their normal pace they've been running today. We'll see if this next lap time is any different as he crosses the timing line.
He can really give up quite a bit of time, because looking at timing and scoring, FLBR has about a 4-lap advantage, so he can really back it down here.
And look at the difference. So when you're looking at the battery telemetry at a driver who is now driving off pace, you can tell that the scatter lines for each cell are a lot closer together, and they're a lot more consistent. And he's going to get probably a few more laps out of that battery because of just the way he's lifting off the throttle. We talk about that in regular automotive sports because of fuel saving, which some races go to fuel saving. It's the same idea. You can save a lot of energy by lifting off the throttle and coasting through the corners.
There, I can definitely tell by his footwork that he is very delicately navigating that cart around the circuit. He's anticipating 3 more minutes of cart life left, and looking like he'll make it at this point in time.
I think he'll make that
Fingers
target
crossed.
that Marshall was asking for. So I think we have another guest appearance. We've talked to the drivers, we've talked to team owners and organizers and everything like that. We haven't talked to some of the crew that make this stuff work. And we now have Mr. Owen Mowell, right?
One of the many they called me in school. It's technically male, spelled weird.
Yeah. We welcome him to the booth now because I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to talk about what was going on in the booth, down in the pits today. He has been doing a fantastic job for us. We know last year you were instrumental in monitoring batteries and stuff. Give us a little bit of lowdown. Give us the behind the scenes.
It's definitely difficult to keep track of everything. It seems about like you get a time off where everything kind of cools down. It's like, ooh, everything looks good, and then it ramps back up, and all of a sudden you have to start getting the fans back onto the ones that are very warm.
Batteries.
Yeah. The batteries that are very warm seems to come and go. You get one cooled down, and then you get on to the next one that's really hot, and then you set them off to the side. Like, well, let's actually cut this one out of the road, pull the one behind it, because although it's fully charged, it's probably not going to be that nice. It'll definitely make it, but it'll...
And so you guys are basically being crew chiefs for all these teams, even though they don't really know it in the background, because you guys are the ones who decide what cars go up on offer so they can...
Yeah, especially with some of the teams that aren't as experienced at it, don't know what to look for. If I just shove up a cart that's probably not going to make it on the track, they don't know better than to not grab that one. So we do our best to pick and grab ones that will definitely make it and aren't right on the cusp of, I'm not going to grab that one. That way nobody has a discrete advantage in that term of just not knowing the battery data.
Yeah, because we talk about all the time trying to be the most consistent carts across the track, and so that's one of the things you guys are doing is trying to make the car consistent to give them back to the teams and put it back on track. So what were some of the other challenges today? You talk about heat and the batteries. Anything else that was instrumental in the behind the scenes today?
Wrenches. Had to swap a couple batteries that just weren't up to par, I guess you could say. They were good. A couple of them made it for about 2 cycles, and then they weren't cooling off quick enough to where we were happy with them to where they would charge fast enough to get them back out there. So we were like, well, it's definitely be quicker just to swap it. So we swapped, I believe, 4 of them.
And this is physically taking the batteries out of the car and putting in a brand new set or a different set.
Yep, just unhooking the batteries that are in them, unbolting them, and then dropping the new ones in and wiring them up, and then sending them on their way, which you had the idea of having our little rack of fully charged new batteries. That way we wouldn't swap in a dead battery and have to wait for that charge. That way we just had them to swap in, and then they were fully charged and ready to go, and we could just send it right back out.
And they were nice and cooled. We saw the actual thermal camera as you were working on one of the batteries. I don't know if you got to see that yet.
No, I did not.
But you'll have to go back to the stream and watch. You see the whole rack of cool batteries, and there was one that was really hot, and then there was obviously you and the fans and the cars and stuff like that were really cool too. Or really hot, actually, but it was a cool image to see. So, Well, Owen, thank you from me and everyone else who's involved with this race. You guys are the ones doing the work to get these guys out on track. So thank you to you and Jacob and everybody else on the team today. You've made this event a success, and so we appreciate it.
Yeah, shout out Jacob, Josh, and Jack.
And Jack.
Yep.
All J's.
Yeah, all J's. Hard to remember.
All right.
Well, you guys are throwing on a good stream, so everybody can enjoy it at home.
Good. All right, we'll finish strong. Thanks, Owen.
Yep.
As we're going to continue to follow on-track action, we're just under the half hour remaining. We're looking for the last 10 minutes remaining before the pit stops or the pits close and pit stops cease for the remainder of the event.
Yeah, that's a thankless job that he's got.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of work down there. I keep seeing in the background of all the camera shots, they're moving fans, sorting batteries, charging, monitoring. They're just doing all the work.
So during that whole time that I was off microphone, did we see Felber come in for their pit, or have we not been paying attention? They were.
I've not been paying attention, but from what I can tell from batteries,
car number 20 is what they are currently piloting.
Okay, so that he's not run the 28, so they did do their swap.
So they have changed drivers, and it is Cash Felber currently piloting for FLBR. I believe I'm seeing that correctly, number 20 on the front hood of that machine. So they are trying to chase down the number 7 cart, which is Jacob, for Team Ohio Drone Repair.
Jacob trying to set some good laps here towards the end of the race. I guess he won't be their anchorman unless he can make that thing last for... Oh, how many laps ago did he come in? That was about 10 minutes ago, so it'll be a stretch.
So currently we have 1,468 laps completed, 1,469 laps completed. And at the distance of the track, we're at about 245 miles completed so far, with 22 minutes of racing minutes of racing remaining, and 12 minutes of green flag pit stops available to the drivers.
That's right. Yep, that is the number 20 Felber Motorsports is piloting. And I would imagine they might be running the same strategy as what they were doing on the last car, and that was to try to save as much battery power as possible. They're
checking in with timing. Everything has pretty much stretched itself out at this point in time in the event. This was totally the opposite last year. Things really tightened up at the end of the event last year, but now we only see 1 lap separating Supersonic from FLBR, 2 laps essentially separating those two teams, 2 laps separating second from third, 2 laps separating third from fourth, and so on and so forth, pretty much down through the field, plus or minus a lap here or there. So things are really getting stretched out, not tightened up as they were last year.
still subject to change.
Correct.
In the last 20 minutes, but yeah, that's definitely the way that it shaped up this point in the event.
So we are showing Team Supersonic running in the number 2 position, just about 1 lap off of the mark. And there we see them just in the same camera shot at opposite ends of the camera shot. We have David Pons and Cash Felber. Or is that Roman Felber? It's one of the Felbers.
This should be Roman now because Cash was in the seat.
Okay.
Let's look at the helmet.
That's Cash.
Okay.
That's Cash. So Cash is got the advantage on Team Supersonic on the race course, at least where they sit on the racetrack, by a turn, about plus or minus a turn. So they have a lap and a turn separating those two teams. So anything can happen here late in the race, and 2 laps then separate Team Supersonic from Team High Voltage. And we are on board with Cash Felber right now, and he is trying to make the move on Team High Voltage, which would put them an additional lap down. So that could be huge for Team Supersonic if Cash Felber is able to make this pass. That would may well seal the top 3 in their positions. So we have Team Redline Racing really going strong here late in the day as they slowly were starting to inch away from Team Downhill Burrito. They were on the same lap during the middle couple of hours of this event. And since then, Team Downhill Burrito has rolled that thing together into a very tight burrito late in the day, and they are running in the number 5 position, just behind Redline Racing. So they've really put the pieces together and pulled away from Team MK Morse. So Redline Racing, like I said, they put themselves in that number 4 position a while ago, but Downhill Burrito has pulled away from MK Morse. There we go, and cemented themselves in the number 5
as we
spot.
got David Pons into the wall?
In the pit lane.
In the pit lane. Trying to determine what happened there.
I don't know, but I just happened to catch the tail end of that as Pons went in the wall.
So we'll check to see if we got a replay on that one.
So we got Andy sprinting down to the other end of the arena. So he may be trying to address something very, very quickly to get these cars mended and back out there on the race course, as we see Team FLBR running just ahead of Team High Voltage. They were flip-flopped just a moment ago, on board with Rachel Hart being represented by David Pons. This is his name tag. There we go.
Yeah.
Rachel Hart on board. She is trying to chase down and make the move on Team MK Morse, and that is being driven by Tyler Koval. He's been behind the wheel quite a bit for Team MK Morse. You got to think that he is being the anchor man, so to speak, for Team MK Morse, as he's been out there quite a bit and running consistent laps for that squad. So with Team Supersonic coming in the pits, that may change things up for the number 2 and 3 positions, actually, as FLBR has came in for their scheduled pit stop, but they may be running their kart a little bit light very late in the race to conserve. So that may leave the door open, actually, for Supersonic and High Voltage to close back in and run their karts hard all the way to the checkers. So Rachel Hart, was she in the kart number 3 right now?
Yeah.
I'm going to be paying attention to Team FLBR's kart whenever I get its number. But Rachel Hart, she's got a very fresh machine. She can run that thing all out. The final 17 minutes, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Cash Felber in kart number 20. I should have known that as I was talking about it just a moment ago. So Cash Felber, he has approximately 80% state of charge left in his machine.
This is a replay of that action right there. Nope. Was it a replay? Okay. We caught the tail end of the accident. But basically, it looks like we had MK Morse Racing stopped, and it gave nobody else, David, nowhere else to go, so he just kind of turned the car into the barrier.
So with approximately 16 minutes left in the race, Felber's kart at 78.7 plus or minus percent state of charge versus Team Supersonic's 94% state of charge. That may have an effect, possibly. What do you think, James, as you have been watching the telemetry on these karts a lot? You've been analyzing them quite a bit, and do you think that FLBRs will survive for those final moments?
You're going to try to have to make it last about 30 more laps. I don't know. If I was the team manager, I wouldn't risk it. I would not leave the car out there with the kind of lead you have. I would definitely pit the car before the laps or the pits close, so that you can make sure you make it to the end.
And that being said, with FLBR having about a 3-lap advantage and running lap times as they have been throughout the race, they could potentially risk coming into the pits to get a fresh car and run that thing all out if they have a very clean pit stop. Because we've seen about 2 laps is what these drivers lose during a pit. Yeah. And if they have a 4-lap buffer right now, they could potentially give up 2 laps and still be in the number 1 position and come out with a brand new fresh kart. But they have to make that decision in the next 4 minutes and 50 seconds.
The absolute worst thing that would happen is you try to run a car too long after being in the lead for so long, and it would ruin a very long race. So
Rachel Hart getting the wave by from Team MK Morse as Supersonic is in the hunt of a podium position. It's just what position on the podium. Is it going to be 1, 2, or 3? Is it going to be where they were last year? Is it going to be 1 step off, or is it going to be the bottom step, the ones looking up, wishing they were there? So Team Supersonic doesn't want to be the ones on the bottom. They want to be where they were last year, but they also don't want to take the bridesmaid position to the kids. They don't want the kids to get all the limelight. So it's going to go any direction here with the final 14 minutes remaining. I thought it was going to stretch itself out, but just like that, it's tightened itself back up in a hurry.
I can see what FLBR is probably trying to do, and they're probably trying to make that stretch so they don't have to stop again. I guess we'll find out. I think that was the reason that Marshall said they wanted him to stretch that car, so they only had 1 more pit stop. But
see, he's got 4 laps that he could, 3 to 4 laps that he could potentially give up, but he's only got 3 minutes and 30 seconds less than to make that final decision, and it needs to be made sooner than later for that team, as it's becoming crunch time, as we have just seen a swap for Team Salem, as we see Giebler making his way back out on the race course. You got to say Keebler first to get his last name correct, which is Giebler. Yeah. But he is not an elf.
Nope, not at all.
He got into racing
And look,
through
we got-
autocross about 20 years ago. So he's been doing this for quite a while. So he's known the Nona makers and was running IT on their race team, like he mentioned, for quite some time. So he's been a part of that clan, but not a part of this crew.
He also used to be my neighbor.
How about that?
He lived 2 doors down from me.
Still?
No, not anymore. He didn't like me, moved away, but
I see. Didn't like the way you were cutting your grass.
probably.
Goat in the cross pattern.
It's my dog.
Yeah, Bear, he's just he's an absolute menace up here in the box. Let me tell you.
Bear has been with us all day. He never got on camera. Maybe it's not too late. We'll see. But he's been sitting under our desk like a good pup. What's that? Oh, post
Yeah, he's been an
okay,
absolute menace up here all day, let me tell you. But Team FLBR, with only
He's going to take a
12 minutes
risk.
remaining,
Still making moves, taking the inside line on Leighton. And Jacob Andrews also going to do a move on Leighton.
Supersonic on the same lap as Team High Voltage. They have just clicked off another lap, has High Voltage. So 1,490 laps for the second place team, 1,489 for third, and 1,493 for the race leaders.
And we're going to start counting it down. We got 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining before the pits close. Will there be any teams who decide to pit one more time? Or are they set to finish the 2024 12 Hours of Canton?
Your mouth is our mission at Primal Life. So make sure you check out Primal Life and thank them for helping us out throughout the duration of the 12 Hours of Canton or the second running. Also want to give a thanks to Bubba's 33 for helping us out and supplying us with some delicious food. And
There we go. Redline Racing is going to make a pit stop.
there we go.
They got in just seconds before, well, the 11-minute mark. As he very carefully inches towards the pit box. Boy, he looked really concerned about blowing that stop box.
Sir, am I on the line?
Yeah. But I guess you're at the end of the race. You don't want to throw another penalty into the mix.
That is the last thing is you want a costly mistake.
And their
that
last
may-
driver is going to take the number 2 machine, Chris Kuhn. He will be their anchor man.
Yeah, and that could have been costly for Redline Racing as there's only 1 lap separating them and Downhill Burrito. That could have cost them the number 4 finishing position. So that was honestly a very smart maneuver from Redline Racing, playing it smart in the pit box, making sure they didn't cross the line and get themselves a costly penalty this late in the event. So we've got 10 seconds remaining. Will any other teams come into the pits for a last moment exchange?
Not those guys.
Felber, his opportunity is done. The number 20 cart will have to run that thing through the duration.
Pits are now closed.
Yep, pits are done. We have just made that prevalent. So the Felbers will have to run that cart number 20, 64%. So in the past, just a couple of minutes, that thing has gone down
Couple percentage
15%.
points. Yeah.
15% in the past
And
3 minutes.
One thing we weren't watching as closely last year at the end of the 12 hours was how close Rachel was on her battery power. Almost had to push that thing across the start-finish line. We'll maybe see if that happens to anybody else today, but
in monitoring what I just said, they lost 12% in approximately 5 to 7, maybe 10 minutes, and they have 60% left to go and only 8 minutes of competition, 9 minutes of competition remaining. Send it, boys. Send it.
Yep.
Run it to the hills. Set those lap times. Make a point here for your first time running the 12 Hours of Canton.
I don't think they'll be under instructions from Marshall to try to beat that 25-2, because that way he can remain purple for the fastest lap of the race. But
he's team captain. He has to have some sort of bragging rights whenever they come back to track tomorrow.
that's true. I wonder if that's what the other gold gloves are for. I guess we'll find out.
So we've got we're on board with Cash Felber right now, showing 61% of state of charge at 47.3 and his lowest cell at 3.23 volts. That's what we are paying very close attention to. We don't want it to drop below the 3 volts. That's what they're really going to be paying attention to, is that's whenever it could do that nasty cutout thing that we don't want to see. So we have just 8 minutes of competition remaining. 3 laps separate first from second. 1 lap separates Supersonic from High Voltage. That is your second place team and third place team, with Redline Racing in the number 4 position with Downhill Burrito right there.
Look at where we landed as far as lap
mistake.
counts. So Rachel is going to rack out 1,500 laps as she crosses this time around with just 7 minutes and 37 seconds remaining.
Doing some quick math, 1,500 laps at the lap count. That's just under the 250-mile mark. So we will be...
We'll hit it.
We'll get over 250 miles. I'm not sure if we will match last year's 260 miles, as I believe we did a review of last year's footage and seeing the lap counts, and I did the quick math and came up with over 260 miles of competition last year. So I'm not sure what we'll get to this year, but with 7 minutes remaining.
Yeah, at about 25 seconds a lap, so you're looking at 14, 15 laps probably.
It's another 2 miles.
Yep.
Not quite getting to the 260 mark like last year. But FLBR, smooth and consistent all the way to the end for the green team, as they are showing about 3 laps ahead of Supersonic, the Science Squad in the number 2 spot, and High Voltage with the orange roll bar covers in third. Rounding out the rest of the field, Redline Racing with the white roll bar covers, running in fourth. Downhill Burrito in brown in fifth. MK Morse, after all of the ups and downs, have found themselves in the number 6 position with Team Salins, not quite matching what they were able to show the squad last year. Adding a member, but dropping through the field, and they are showing in 7th. And Ohio Drone Repair, last-minute addition to the 12-hour running, and a great showing for them with some good lap times, but just not quite putting the pieces together for their inaugural running.
But when it's all sorted out at the end of the day, what we see is what happened in our Endurance League Championship, and that was the Felber boys led it with Rachel closely behind in third, and we've seen that carried out today. So after everything gets mixed through carts and batteries and strategies and everything like that, the drivers are ending up in the same spot they finished in their regular season of competition.
Just reading a little bit of what is going on.
As we get one last look through the thermal imaging drone. Thanks very much, guys, for providing that today. It's been very interesting to see. We're sure there's lots of marbles off the side of the track. It'll be very interesting to see where it all lands as we get done and walk out of the booth here. Want to make sure that we thank all of you for following along today. Thanks for making the stream successful. We want to make sure that we're giving this out to the world so that you guys can not only cheer for your friends and family, but also expose you to this great world of motorsports and this different type of motorsports and what it offers and the excitement that it has. So we appreciate you guys being part of that.
This is the truest definition of motorsports, because electric is motor.
Yeah.
Engines are gasoline.
Yeah.
And this is motorsports.
Really, literally motors, yeah.
Little definitions breaking it down here late in the day. It's getting a little long in the tooth here up in the booth as we are winding down with the final 4 minutes of green flag racing. We have Team Supersonic out there with cart number 3. I'm pretty sure all of these teams have taken battery management into great consideration here at the end of the race. So I'm pretty sure all of these teams are going to run them out all the way to the end. And I can't say nobody, but we shouldn't see anybody limping these things across the line. Pretty sure all the teams have taken that into consideration, and we've seen a lot of teams making some pits ample time before that checkered flag.
As far as telemetry goes, that car is in the clear to make it the last 5 minutes. We'll see what happens.
And we've seen the Felbers pushing their cart up until about the 12:06, 12:07 mark. Hey, Bear, you really want to get on camera here before the end of the day. I know you do.
He wanted to make an appearance.
He's trying. He's making an appearance with a special guest, not me. You're going to go home with James tonight. You're supposed to turn that way.
No, he's tired, so
there he is.
There's Bear.
Hey, He's been heckling us up here in the box all day.
It's been good company for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to announce the winner as the last drawing for the Primal Life Care. Yes? Okay.
No, this is going to be for a DJI.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, for DJI. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And so we will wait to hear from you on that.
So we should have given away 3 particular drones. We give one away first.
3 of each, yeah.
Then followed by the care package from Primal Life, then another drone, then another care package, then we're back on the drone for the final run. We didn't start giving away things until later in the broadcast, so I believe our...
Yep, 2:30 was the first, and then every 2 hours.
Spectacular. 2 minutes of competition remaining. About 7 laps is what we're going to see left for these drivers.
Oh, we'll also see if anyone wins the grand prize.
Oh, that is very,
so
very
we'll find that out before we get off the air tonight.
So there we are watching Team High Voltage and Team Redline Racing battling for position on the race course. That's not for racing position, as there is 14 laps separating those 2 particular teams, as we have just seen Insight Team MK Morse being piloted by Tyler Koval. So currently out on track, we got Tyler Koval for MK Morse.
And all these teams, 4th on down, are going to pass the 1,500 lap mark. Team Salem might be a little short. They got to make up 11 laps. So
Jacob Andrew currently piloting for Team High Voltage. We have Cash out on the track for Team FLBR. For Team Downhill Burrito, that is Tice.
And that's it. 1 minute remaining. The white flag will fly at the expiration of time.
So, yes, like I counted, it's about 7-8 laps were remaining in the competition, and it's pretty much settled right now. Supersonic and High Voltage on the same essential lap, but they are on opposite ends of the track from one another. And as soon as FLBR takes that white flag, it's done at that point, and Supersonic will have their position, as we see Jason's foot front and center in the camera with the white flag in hand, queued up.
Let's see. How close is it going to be for the last lap? Because he just had passing at 24 seconds remaining. So we'll find out.
So we see him coming through the turn by the garage doors, 0 seconds on the clock. So the white flag will be coming out for FLBR this time across the finish line. It is all come down to this. FLBR is running their final lap, and time has expired for the final DJI drone giveaway. So we'll be drawing the winner of that in just a few moments. But that white flag turned into checkers right now as FLBR making their way across the finish line.
1 lap to go.
So what did we see flying just a second ago?
This is white flag.
This is white flag. Okay.
They were waiting for him to come.
So white flag flies for FLBR as they're making their final circuit around the course. And now checkered flag queued up, and it is flying for the young crew. FLBR taking the checkered flag and the overall win for the second running of the 12 Hours of Canton. They will be followed across the finish line by Team Supersonic, who will finish in the number 2 position unofficially, as Team High Voltage finishing in 3rd. Team Redline Racing with a solid performance in the number 4 spot, with Team Downhill Burrito rounding out our top 5, and the rest of the field will be Team MK Morse in the number 6 position. Team Salen's not quite matching their performance from last year, and rounding out the field, we have Ohio Drone Repair.
It was a grueling race of 12 hours with no mechanical failures, with a few battery stoppages here once in a while, but most teams, the top 6, hitting 1,500 laps around the indoor track. Great job, great showing by a lot of the drivers and teams, as they are now going to take a finish line photo.
253 miles is what was completed in today's event. So these drivers are going to be taxed when it's all said and done.
We can just see them getting out of their carts at this point.
So we're just getting these drivers a quick photo opportunity for them to show all of their family and friends what they took part in on St. Patrick's Day weekend. And we will be joining the rest of these teams down at the victory podium in just a few moments with our podium celebration after these messages from our sponsors. And thanks for joining us for the second running of the 12 Hours of Canton, brought to you by the folks at Primal Life, Ohio Drone Repair, and the rest of the crew at Bubba's 33 and the rest of our sponsors. Thanks again for joining us for the second annual running of the 12 Hours of Canton. This was an epic running, and the kids ended up taking it.
They just dominated the field all day today, and as we'll see in some of the highlight reels we're going to watch now, you can just see where their consistency really paid off over time, and they pretty much every time they got hit with something, they bounced back. So whether that was any kind of yellows or cautions or any kind of incidents on track where they got penalized or anything like that, they were able to not only get the position back, but they were also able to keep gaining on the field, and that was consistent for the entire 12 hours. It was very impressive.
Yeah, we just constantly looked back and forth to one another up here in the booth. Is FLBR really that fast? And yes, they answered that question time and time again, as they have proven that they were the fastest team here today, despite all of the controversies that we have heard about up here in the box. I mean, we're just hearing little bits of what has actually happened out there, and through it all, they've able to
and to show up the veterans of the field. We have High Voltage, who came back and finished right behind Supersonic like they did last year.
And that is...
And as solid as those teams were, they just didn't have the same pace as Felber Motorsports.
Team High Voltage, they have to be a little bit disappointed as they gave it up to the kids, and that team was stacked with a slew of notable names.
Consistency across the four drivers, but that was the same thing for both them and Supersonic, and that's not to discredit anybody from Redline Racing or Downhill Burrito, because they had excellent showings today, but it's just to compare and show what the gap was between the leaders and the rest of the field.
So we actually have somebody physically checking the electric meter for a before and after, so how much electricity we actually consumed.
Yeah, for the grand prize drawing.
Yes, so it's been a mystery up until a minute from now.
I don't even know what the guess would be, so I'm interested to find out.
What is it going to be represented as? Amp hours?
Kilowatt hours.
Kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
KWH. So I'm very curious.
Yeah, we took a measurement of it before, and we're going to have somebody take the measurement of it after, and we'll find out who, if anyone, wins the grand prize. So
do the math and do the net change. Is there going to be a buffer of plus or minus?
No, it has to be exact. So it's a great grand prize, and it had to be an exact match.
That is going to be a tough
I haven't even seen any of the entries. I don't even know what people were guessing. I don't know if they were going hundreds, thousands. Tens?
I don't even know what would be a accurate hypothetical guess. I have no frame of reference.
I don't either. But I think that's why it made such a great grand prize contest, so we'll find out.
That is going to be a spectacular grand prize. So we're just waiting to see who the winner for the third and final DJI Mini 2 SE.
Yeah. We're waiting for the Mini, and we are also going to find out if anybody wins the grand prize. So
once again, my name is Derek Everett, reporting to you for Competition Karting, and as we always have, you, James, representative, and you're the guy for K1 here in Canton. So thank you for help putting this together and allowing us to do this.
Thanks for being a part. It's been great to broadcast with you. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the content, as I'm sure you guys have already subscribed, because that was part of the contest rules, is you had to subscribe. So we look forward to continuing to bring you coverage of all of our other series that we do here at K1 Speed. They're definitely not as long as this one, so you don't have to watch and endure, but we will be running the Endurance League. We'll be bringing that back next month. That league will run once a month for the next 5 months, because we're not going to run one this month. Nobody seemed to want to sign up for the endurance race tomorrow. I don't know why.
Blasphemy.
Yeah. We'll have to talk to them about that.
That being said, it is one race a month, like you said,
Yeah, the Endurance Series once a month.
and those are points-paying events.
They are, and they accumulate over 5 to 6 months, depending upon what the season looks like. And then the teams actually won money towards their 12-hour entry as their prize money.
And how much does it cost to come and participate in an endurance?
$75.
Okay, and
Yep.
duration of time?
It's a half-hour race. You get one kart swap. You do similar pit stops to what they do, except since it's single driver, you line up the two cars and you get out of one and you get into another car that's right next to it. But similar ideas. Come in through the pits. You choose when you pit, what your strategy is.
Are the carts set up a little bit hotter than they would be for this particular event, or they're
No.
same setups exactly?
Identical. Yep, same setups.
So 30 minutes, they're not really utilizing the carts all the way, because we've seen these carts getting about 20 minutes
Right.
in a full.
Yeah, that series originally started with trying to make it all 85 laps under one battery charge. We've nixed that for one, to make sure that we have enough batteries consistent across the field, because that's been an issue.
Okay.
And two, because I really like the pit stop strategy thing. I think it adds so much more to the race. You have Armand, who ran it the last month, and he bet the twins that he could start in the back and win the race, and he almost did it, but he pitted on lap 1, and he should have pitted on about lap 3, and otherwise he could have made it.
It's always some sort of strategy involved. So we're just waiting to get all of our ducks in a row. They're all in the same pond. They're all still here. So at least all of our ducks are in the same pond. We're just waiting to get them all in a row down there for their podium presentation. So we're just waiting for that to get all in order before we send things back down to Dana once again. But I want to thank everybody for joining us and participating in all of the giveaways. And we're just waiting to see who everyone's favorite driver was from tonight's event as well. So I believe Patrick has been keeping an eye on all of those things. So we have the net change, perhaps.
Yeah, you have to give us a minute on this one. So
we're going to do some quick math, a little bit of new math for.
we don't do that new math stuff around here.
No?
No.
None of that blocky stuff?
No.
Okay. We're good to go down there for the podium? All right. So I'm going to send it down to you, Jason, who is currently holding the microphone down there at the victory podium. Sending it down to you, Jason.
Hey guys, so down in the pits, and we are going to be awarding trophies, which is the best part of the race, I think at least. And I've got Dana gonna join me over here shortly. Awesome. You need a mic?
Absolutely.
Sweet, we got a mic. So, did everybody have a good time? Everybody's off camera, but it was a good time? Yeah? Awesome. Good. All right, so we got third place, high voltage.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations,
All right.
guys. Oh,
Steve.
I forgot to get trophies. Go ahead, we'll stand over here, that way we're out of the way.
Yes. All right, guys, congratulations. And so tell her, how are we feeling? How are we feeling after this long day?
We're feeling pretty good. Never satisfied other than a win, but there's always next year, so we'll see what happens again.
So what things would you have done differently? Some things go wrong tonight, just a little off, or third place? I mean, that's a great showing.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of a little bit of everything, to be honest. We had a few penalties that were easily avoidable, and we let a cart die. Just a combination of things that we can improve on overall. So.
Well, nothing to blink an eye out. You guys did amazing, and congratulations on third spot.
Thank you.
Awesome, great. So we've got our second place team, Team Supersonic. Congratulations.
Hop on up. All right. So congratulations to you guys also, taking second place here. So where does this place you from last year's performance?
So we won it last year. Wasn't as great as the battle this year, though.
Yeah, well, I was thinking I was watching you in those last final laps, Rachel, and it was biting at the bit, getting closer and closer. It was really close down to the wire. You guys did a fantastic job.
Awesome. Awesome. And we've got our first place for the second running of the 12 Hours of Canton goes to Team FLBR Motorsports.
Congratulations. Wow. Marshall, Roman, and Cash. Wow.
That's perfect.
Did you guys get a... Like a 12 is, yeah, turn the 12 around there.
It's been a long day.
Take their picture. No, the other way. The other way. There we go. Let everybody get pictures here, so. That's right. You got it?
3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1. Awesome.
Congratulations, Marshall, Cash, Roman. How's it feeling to be the winner tonight?
Tired.
Yes,
Tired.
tired. I'm good.
What's the first thing you're going to do when you get back to the home?
I have to go to work.
The kids say sleep, he says work. So congratulations on being the champion here in the winter tonight, and great job.
These darn kids.
Congratulations, everyone. Hey, before I throw it back upstairs, the crew, I could not do this by myself. And track guys, they should be over here in black shirts. Huge thanks to these guys. Guys, get up here real quick. Say hi. These guys seriously make it happen behind the scenes, so massive thanks to them. You guys got to know Owen a little bit more, but there's a lot of personalities behind the scenes we deal with, so it's a great time. So I asked this last year. We'll do it again. How many people would run this race again?
They're ready to go. They're ready to go again. They're going to make it the 24-hour race.
No, not yet.
Jason says no. He's done.
It's another tired yes, but I think everybody would. So
Yes.
With that, congratulations to our winners
Yeah,
of the second 12 Hours of Canton.
Thank you, everyone. Let me move out of the way.
And thanks to you guys for allowing us to put on this great event. My name, again, is Derek Everett, reporting to you for Competition Karting, and that is the rest of our media crew up here in the box.
And look at all these hardworking producers and all the stuff they've been doing behind the scenes to bring you the action. We really appreciate them, especially our camera guys and our producers. It's been a great, successful event. Derek, thanks for being here. We will look forward to seeing you guys again shortly with the next round of competition at K1 Speed Canton. For everybody else here, I'm James.
I'm Derek Everett, and I'll see you guys when the green flag flies.
Have a great night, everybody.